Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata, and finally Mata Rani ne sun li and we could convince Ramesh Subramanian, the owner of YouTube channel Chief Engineer Tea Time Talks, to make a well-structured course on hydraulic cranes with us. And today that course is live and I am going to share a sample video where you can see important parts of a crane. This video is awesome. It will give an idea ki how this package is made. Very important for chief officers, second engineers, third engineers, fourth engineers and even junior engineers. नॉलेज की कोई सीमा नहीं होती, जितनी जल्दी लीजिए, वीडियो देखिए एंड अगर अच्छा लगे तो डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जाके एंड कमेंट सेक्शन में जाके आपको लिंक मिलेगा, वहां से पैकेज बाय.
So now we are going to see the common parts of a crane. So this is the you also can see whether these structures are in place, because if these structures are thinned down or rusted and thin, the whole crane is going to fall on somebody's head, right? Okay, this is the stool. So now next, I need to have a rotating part, which is going to be the one which is actually going from picking up the container or the cargo from the starboard side, putting it on the ship, or picking the cargo from the ship and putting it ashore. So which swing. Okay. Now common sense. Whenever you have something which is rotating and something which is not rotating, I need to have a bearing. So okay gentlemen, now we go into more specifics. I just showed you the common parts of a crane. As I told you, there are so many types of crane. Let me remove this, and now you see here. Let me make it bigger for you guys. Now what can you expect will be inside the machinery space of the electro-hydraulic crane? Of course, as I told you, this is this particular crane. You can see that I have a induction motor. So let me start marking this. I have an induction motor here. This induction motor is actually driving 3 pumps through a gearbox. So I am not showing the gearbox, but it is the gearbox. I am three through a system of gears. This induction pump is driving 3 pumps simultaneously. Understood? So now you can have a look. This is my induction motor, you see. Understood? And then it is driving 3. Okay gentlemen, so we are moving on to the next topic. The next topic is, what are the type of pumps we are using in cranes in the industry? Of course, this is a very challenging stuff. Too many types, too many makers, too many models, too much of fundamentals. But you have to grasp the basic fundamentals of the most popular types, and so that you are in a better position to understand the working principle of the crane. Because how the crane works depends on what type of pump you use, what type of a motor you use, hydraulic motor. So here you can see that I have a crane and I am going to reorganize my entire stuff by the pumps. What type of pumps, right? What type of pumps? By construction, right? So because of the tilt of the angle of the, because of the tilt of the swash plate, that means the swash plate has got tilted because of an angle, my pump is giving me a particular discharge rate is equal to Q is equal to, say, again let us keep this 100 liters per minute. You see, now I have created a possibility to change the angle of swash plate. You see, swash plate is at a maximum angle, correct? Q is equal to, say, 100 liters per minute. This is going to be controlled. What type of control? Again, we are going to have a subdivision of this to see what all type of controls are possible. But okay gentlemen, so time to move on to the next topic, and the next question I am going to ask is, what are the type of motors which are used in crane? Now we are going to, again, as we did for the pumps, we are going to do it in a very organized and systematic way. And that being, I am going to say by construction, by delivery, by direction, and then we are going to look at some examples. Even who are sailing, very senior people are getting mixed up and they are probably not aware. I am putting in some oil, say 100 liters of oil per minute. Obviously this oil is going back to the tank and the resultant is my shaft is rotating. Correct or not? Now when I am doing this, as long as my oil inlet is 100 liters per minute, I cannot change the RPM of the shaft. I cannot. Axial piston, right? Now watch very carefully. You see here. Watch very carefully the angle of the swash plate. You see it's become low speed. See, angle of the swash plate is going to, watch very carefully. It has changed, speed has picked up, correct, and is picked up more. That means for 3 different angles I have 3 different speeds. Arrow is telling me that these 2 arrows are telling me that it is a motor, and this arrow is telling me that it is a variable speed hydraulic motor. Now we talk about who is going to move the swash plate of that hydraulic motor. It can be with a hydraulic control, you see, hydraulic control, correct, or it will be a electronic control. So now you can see that this is the hydraulically controlled motor. On a cargo crane, I am going to show you some examples of multiple speed motor. See, on a cargo crane with hydraulic control, I have these examples with me. Okay, you cannot rule out the possibility that I cannot have a hydraulic control variable speed motor. They may be there, right? I have an example of this which I intend to show you. You see here, just to tie up your loose ends, right? I have a motor which is, correct, you look here, variable speed motor, no, multiple speed motor, correct, this is a motor, and you can see the drawing is here, almost the same thing, correct. Going to pick up the basic common functions on a crane and then try to, of course, how a crane works. How do you know how a crane works? The whole conceptual level understanding of how a crane works. What are the basic principles on which this entire crane is going to deliver what it's supposed to deliver is depicted in the symbolic form in a hydraulic circuit diagram for a crane. So when you look at the hydraulic circuit diagram, you should be able to identify the components and be able to understand how the oil is flowing and what is it crane supposed to do. A few of the components will be doing a particular job, correct. I am going to open up or expose the example hydraulic circuit crane with a hydraulic circuit diagram for a crane. Now this is a 3-speed crane, understood, 3-speed crane and IHI crane, you can see that. And we are going to understand what is this. So, in the first instance, it looks very complicated, very tough. Pressure controlling device, also called a relief valve. Pressure limiting device, in this case, I call it as the relief valve. Understood? I'm going to export that component. The reversing in this particular crane is going to be done by a component called the direction control valve. Direction control valve. This is where you say that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 3 direction control valve. 7 by 3. Anyway, just by talking 7 by 3 doesn't mean like much. You might be able to impress somebody, but that's it. It's just a jargon, just a way of describing it. But you have to understand what is it doing. Important test called the rocking test, which seems to be the big fashion nowadays. Every guy, whomever I am coming in touch with, sir, please explain to me what is rocking test. Why surveyors are going berserk asking for rocking test? And this is the test which 15-20 years back nobody knew about and nobody was bothered. But rocking test seems to be the new favorite of all the surveyors. And so that anyway, now let me tell you what is this rocking test, why people are doing, and then I will give you my opinion on rocking test, which will be a bit shocking for all of you. Turret and the jib is in this completely vertical position, minimum jib angle position, minimum jib angle position. So obviously you will be, if you look at this one, I am somewhere here, correct, the balanced. So what I am going to do in a rocking test is I am going to put a dial gauge here, right. Of course this is generic I am showing you. If your manual says where to put the dial gauge, you follow the manual, because there are many ways of doing the same thing, but concept, try to understand the concept what I am trying to tell you. So I put a dial gauge here, correct, and then what you see is I am going to drop the jib. Try to understand. I am going to drop the jib from here